Hello, I'm Sam,
And I'm Lucas.
and this is our new game, First Light, currently in development. Lucas, tell us about it.
So First Light is it started off as a bit of an idea that we had, and it's continually changing, and we really don't know where we're going with it. But the engine itself is written in Java using OpenGL and the lightweight Java game library project as a sort of back end. And we've been building up this engine and slowly getting it into a more usable sort of system. At the moment, on the screen, it doesn't look very pretty, but that's what we're about to show you. All our different shaders that we've been writing to make it look pretty. So, Sam?
Right, so we've rigged this up so we can show some things off. So obviously at the moment, very plain, very boring. We've got different block types, different colors, but looks pretty boring. If I do this, we have an outline effect based on the depth buffer in the game, which helps give a bit of definition to things. Bit more of a, I don't know, you might say cartoon sort of feel.
Definitely when it's more exaggerated than it is at the moment.
Yeah.
It does give a really interesting sort of effect.
So if we turn that off again, we've got directional lighting, of course. Pretty boring, pretty standard to any game. Just goes with the direction of the sun. So you can see this face is brighter, opposite is darker. Very straightforward. We'll turn that off. We have shadows, which is actually a reasonably new feature. If you've seen any older videos, you will have seen that we had a block-based lighting system, which is more or less what Minecraft has. You're bound to be familiar with Minecraft, everyone is. So we've implemented proper shadow mapping, which is still sort of in the works. It's all there, but you can see there's some weird artifacts around the place. This is all stuff we can fix. We just haven't yet.
We only implemented this like a week ago, and we haven't really spent a lot of time working out the kinks. It's just, it's a good start.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference. And it's actually a more efficient way to do it, because with the block-based lighting system that we used previously, we had to calculate the lighting on the CPU as the chunk terrain was being generated.
So when you move around, it puts a pretty high load on the CPU and basically means you could catch up to where the world was being generated still.
It
when
was
you moved
just
quickly.
Shockingly slow.
We tried a lot to optimize that, but...
And it also makes mesh generation a lot worse, and we can talk about that more a bit later. So anyway, that's the shadows. Oh, turn that off. And the last thing, which we just added a couple of days ago, is screen space ambient occlusion, which you can see makes a huge difference to the scene. Even with all the other effects turned off, it looks pretty great, I think.
Yeah, it's a really great look. And
so it just gives you that slight darkening in the corners, and we can adjust this effect, but I think where we've got it is pretty right.
It really, I mean, even without any other effects, it makes the game look brilliant. So
It just adds definition to everything.
yeah, you can see clearly everything that's going on in the scene.
So if we go and combine all the effects I've just mentioned, voila, we have a pretty neat looking voxel game, if we do say so ourselves.
Which we do.
We do. We're proud of this.
What's happening over there?
Oh, that was just a shadow map.
Oh, yeah, the shadows cutting in and out.
Yeah, ignore that.
Ignore that. That will...
There are lots of things that you should just ignore.
Do you want to
just talk about the things that you shouldn't ignore?
start the time?
Yeah, we had our world time paused, but I'll just get it running again. Now you'll see the shadows move in increments.
They
every
will
few
be
seconds.
fading between to give a smoother transition eventually. We haven't got around to that yet.
Yes.
But if you have it continuously update, you get weird shimmering sort of effects, and it
Just looks like rubbish.
looks bad. So
So you can see there's the sun. Shadows
casting
are
shadows,
sort of that direction.
and we can speed
If I
up some time.
change the time, backwards, forwards, shadows all move with it. So anyway, that's that. Might just draw your attention to the sky while we're here.
Yes,
Now,
lovely
we've
cloud system.
posted in our blog about this, but never actually posted a video. So yeah, these are our clouds. It's just a texture that's layered in. It's got multiple layers moving in different directions and combined, and it gives you this cool.
Very dynamic sort of effect.
Yeah, and it's very cheap to implement.
And not to mention the fact that this cloud stuff also changes with our weather system.
Yes,
We can show you tomorrow.
the clouds
probably.
get heavier or lighter.
tomorrow, as in the game tomorrow.
Game tomorrow, yeah. No, you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
We've got 2 layers of clouds, which you probably can't tell, but that's not important. Yeah, sun there. The moon comes up at night, which is not particularly realistic, but deal with it. Sky colours change. You can see the sun's coming down now, so
we get to the sunset stage.
which is rather pretty, and we can set these sky colours based on biome type, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's different here than a desert. Now, I should mention, as it is getting dark, we've implemented skybox textures for the nighttime for the stars. This one currently was generated with open source software, and it's not really a great fit for our look we're going for, so we're in the process of trying to make a new one.
It is, however, a great skybox.
It is brilliant.
Looks fantastic. May have just had a slight loss of video there. Ignore that as well.
Yeah. But it's brilliant texture and everything. It's just not really
Doesn't fit the voxel look.
the voxel look. But
so
yeah,
that's the night sky. Looks beautiful. Looks better than having no stars at all.
yeah.
So if we accelerate into tomorrow, you notice the clouds changing in thickness, getting quite heavy now. Brings us to our next thing, rain. You've got to have rain, of course. So the clouds are really heavy, and
Quite darker, dense.
the ambient light in the world actually gets a bit darker, and the sky color darkens when there's rain. So you can see if I get down under some trees, it doesn't rain under trees. Genius. Doesn't rain under just things.
Yeah.
We've got a pretty limited distance in which it rains. That can be adjusted, of course, but you can see some little splashes around the place. That's cool. Just adds to the feel. So that's the rain. I'm going to get rid of the rain because who likes rain, really? Next up, let's have a look at the water, which we've also posted about but never really properly shown
I've
off.
seen it in a video, and I don't think you get the full effect, really.
So, it's blue, but that's not the most interesting bit. I might just fly up above the surface a bit.
You can see it better like this.
And you see we've got this cool little ripple effect going on. So we've opted not to have proper reflections on our water just because it might be a bit too much of a load, and it looks pretty like this.
It does.
For proper reflections, you sort of have to render the scene again, upside down, and all this silly stuff, and it's just not worth it for us.
Yeah.
At this point, anyway.
A big hit in the performance, which we don't need right now. You can see the water's kind of distorting what's underneath.
Yeah, so we do a cool little trick there just by, again, using a texture that is layered, moving in different directions, and that's treated as a normal map on the surface of the water. And based on the normal vectors at each point on the water, it just bends the background a little bit to give you that cool ripple.
Yeah.
And in fact, on the surface of the water, if I can find a point, hang on. If we make some shadows on the water, and I just scoot over here, you can see the shadows on the surface of the water ripple as well. Same deal, pretty much, which is cool. Now, just trying to think, did we have anything else to talk about?
Can't remember.
We had a list,
But
but then things went, whoop, there's our list. Greedy meshing.
greedy meshing, that's right.
We talked about meshing briefly earlier. We'll just get it a bit sunnier here. And pause, maybe.
Yeah. So before, with our old lighting implementation, because the light data was stored in the sort of world data as different, I don't exactly know, but because that's Sam's sort of domain, but
Glad to be done with all that, to
it
be
was
honest.
stored very in with the world data sort of, and that meant
Each block basically had a light level.
each block had a light level, and when it came to meshing, we couldn't mesh together two blocks with different light levels because they would not be the same block type sort of thing.
Yeah. So now that we don't have that block lighting, it makes our meshing a lot more
Our greedy meshing
optimized.
can be, it meshes a lot better. So if we go into wireframe mode and give people a closer look at how this meshing actually happens.
Yes. So, yeah, what is greedy meshing? Well, you can see these are our individual triangles in the world geometry.
And instead of having two for every single side of every single voxel, so to speak, we combine similar surface types, sort of thing, into
big.
chunks. And obviously, the more
So the more complicated the terrain is,
the less optimal the meshing is.
Yeah, but where you have big flat surfaces, you can see this has all been divided into strips. It may not be the optimal mesh, but it's pretty darn close, and that's the main thing.
It's optimal. There's a toss up between being optimal in rendering performance and optimal in generation performance. Obviously, we could get it to mesh everything it could possibly mesh, but that would take a lot of time, CPU-wise, which would then decrease the sort of terrain generation performance. And like you can see out in the ocean, where there's big whole chunks of just water, it just meshes them.
There's a lot you can see that have these diagonal divisions, and that's just where the water type is actually changing based on the biome. So the temperature and the rainfall affect that and affect the color of the water pretty much.
So you might see a transition into greener water, and that will be into a sort of swampy, more damp,
If I
warm
just
sort of biome.
come
You
back,
can see
we can fly around a little bit.
gradual transitions in everything the grass, the rocks, everything has gradual transitions. Slowly, as it's all dependent
Even
on the temperature.
underwater, it's hard to tell here. But sometimes you see big transitions underwater as well. Different colours for everything. We've allowed 16 bits for a block type, which ends up being a pretty big number. I think 32,000 or something different block types.
32,000 different block types, of which some ridiculous amount is just different types of trees.
And grass.
And
you can
grass.
see there's just a little...
There's a line going through there. And
we've talked about the block types in our blog, I think.
So if you want to know more, just head over there and have a look. I'm sure it's there. But yeah, there's a lot. There's thousands and thousands of different things, different block types devoted to different parts of the game.
Anyway, that's about it, I think.
That's all we have to show, really.
So, sorry if this has been horribly boring. We'll try and make this a regular thing, I think. Or semi-regular.
Yeah, as often
and
as
hopefully,
we can. Once we have new content to show off, we will
hopefully get better at it.
Update. And not blunder around.
I'd be guessing most videos wouldn't be this long.
No, this is a big update.
This is like catch up on everything interesting.
The last video, which was made a long, long time ago.
Yeah, so thanks for watching, and it'd be really great if you subscribe, and that'll give us the motivation we need to do better videos, I guess.
Yeah. The
Something
more
like
of you
that
are interested, the more effort we can put in, basically.
Yeah. So tell us what you think, and thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya.